that and Super Bowl stuff. It's just, yeah, just waiting for it to go live really quick here, and we will get going. But yeah, I don't understand a lot of these trades.
No.
Very perplexed by them, specifically the Raptor ones. Okay, I think we're good. Right. And then on my side, what it is, what it do. Welcome to Fresh Take slash Couch Potato Diary. Joshua Adelaide Marathon with Peter Klein, a very confused Peter Klein.
Just in general, always confused, but yeah, trying to make sense of a few of the things, and specifically with the Raptors stuff today. I think I know what they're going for. I don't. I think I know what Plan A is, but I don't know what the follow up is beyond that. So it's an interesting day for sure.
Okay, please let me know what the plan is then. So I guess kind of go through these trades really quickly here. So
Mhm.
the first one, there's been I would say like there's only been one or two trades I actually like, and the other ones I'm like, I don't get it. There's
Yeah.
been quite a few of those I don't get it trades. Okay, so let's go back to your trade. So the more or less you got Ajayi and Kelly Olynyk for, was it a first round pick, and who did you trade in that Utah one? It's been so long ago now.
Otto Porter Jr.
Otto Porter, right?
and another kid who I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but yeah, the first round pick being included in that one is the frustrating part of it
Oh,
because
Kyra Lewis. Kyra
that's
Lewis.
it.
He was just randomly thrown in from the Pels trade. They're
Yeah.
like, here, take him. We don't want him.
Yeah, not a lot of footage there for the video tribute that is to come, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
I think the big part of this one that has a lot of Raptor fans frustrated, and specifically this Raptor fan, is the inclusion of the first round pick, because this is going to be a team that they are not very good, and probably will continue to be not very good. And so to be including a first round pick, not theirs, but including a first round pick, is a little bit frustrating,
Yeah.
because that there is very much a world where that's kind of their only first round pick, right? So it's just it's perplexing to me that they would go off and make that move. I think the way that I am kind of wrapping my head around it right now is that this is a Raptors team that is looking to make a move next year. And so with the move, and the other one that I'm sure we'll talk about, Olynyk's deal is up at the end of this year. And
Yeah.
so I guess they were looking for an expiring contract in that is the only way I can wrap my head around it. Like at least they're not trading for term. But I still that is the only way I can wrap my head around that one anyway.
Yeah. And then the Brooklyn one makes even less sense. So you trade Dennis and Thad for Spencer Dinwiddie?
Yeah. That one again is so Schroeder has a contract beyond next year, or beyond this year into next year,
Yeah.
and Dinwiddie doesn't. So I think it's the Raptors looking to just get expiring deals and then hoping that they can build like around a core of Barnes, Quickly, and RJ Barrett. Given that this is not anticipated to be a fantastic draft year anyway. So
Yeah.
I think that's what they're going for, is they're going to try to be one of the prettiest girls at the bar when it comes to teams that actually have salary cap space for next season. I don't necessarily agree with the plan, but I think that's what the plan is.
That would make sense. I mean, I'm also wondering, I mean, the one guy we all thought they would trade is still on the team as of right now,
Right.
and Bruce Brown.
Yeah, and the frustrating thing for me is, and one of the reasons that this one doesn't make a ton of sense to me, um, I thought like Schroeder is the type of player, and I know the Lakers have already gone down this road, but
Oh,
a
I
lot of
wanted him.
teams need depth, right? And so I don't understand how that's the best deal you could get for Schroeder, is
Yeah.
just get an expiring contract. And like I thought there was some value there. I do want to correct myself. That pick that they traded out is one of potentially three picks they have. They have the Indiana one,
Yeah.
and then the other one that is the worst of OKC, Houston, LAC, and Utah. And then their pick is top six protected. And
And they're
I would
like
argue,
borderline.
right, I would argue the Raptors kind of got better today, with bringing in Olynyk over
I
Porter,
would say,
and
yeah.
Dinwiddie and Schroeder, kind of a wash, I think. Not, I don't think there's an appreciable difference either way. So now it takes you out of the running. So now you might have with these moves lost 2 first round picks this year. So I think I know what they're doing, but I don't like what they're doing, and I don't fully understand it either.
So right now the Raptors are 5 spots, 5 spots of the 10 seed. And it's seemingly we're about 50 minutes until the conclusion of the deadline here. Uh, it doesn't look like Atlanta's going to budge, and it doesn't look like the Bulls are going to budge. So the Atlanta and the Bulls are going to stay where they are. Brooklyn got the same or better. I don't know with that. They just did another trade. I think we'll get to in a second here. So you're 3 games behind Brooklyn. But yeah, I would say that yeah, having Spencer Dinwiddie and Olynyk definitely make them better? Question mark. And Ajabe, like he's one of those guys. He was really good on Kansas. Probably butchering his name, but he's really good on Kansas, and I think he was looking for an opportunity. So Raptors are going to be a perfect opportunity for him to find himself. It's just very confusing. A lot of the moves, like I thought Bruce would be gone first or Boucher. These weren't the Dennis. I thought there's 3 guys you came in today thinking like, okay, Bruce, Boucher, and Dennis probably will not be Raptors by the end of the day. And instead, right now, we're kind of like, okay, so Bruce is still here. And I would assume that Bruce will be gone. I mean, you would hope Bruce will be gone by the end of the 50 minutes here. Because if not, just taking Bruce into Bruce has an option, does he not? But it's a
Yeah.
team option.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe they'll pick it up. I mean, it's not terrible to have Bruce Brown.
Yeah, like then he's an expiring next year, right? So it's a bit
Yeah.
more trade ammunition. But yeah, that was kind of the justification you thought in including him in the Siakam deal, is that this is another piece that you can flip and kind of expand what you're getting for Pascal Siakam. And so yeah, like that, like I kind of thought Schroeder was going to get dealt today. I just assumed it would be at like 12:55. It was like and by the way, we got a second round pick and some young kid you've never heard of for Dennis Schroeder, and he's off to the Lakers or the Knicks.
That's
Or
what I was hoping. I was like, Jalen Hood Schifino, second round pick, Dennis Schroeder, call it in, because I was like, oh, that's a win-win for the Raptors. They trade Dennis and they get this young guy in Jalen Hood, who the Lakers aren't going to play. And
Yeah.
he was a 15th overall, 16th overall pick, whatever we took him with. And hey, let's see what we got with this kid. One of the best
Yeah.
developmental teams in the NBA. Why not?
Totally. And for the Lakers side of it, and I'm sure we'll get into them in a little bit in a bit more detail, but he was kind of one of the exact pieces that they needed, is just a
Yes.
little bit more
Especially with the Gabe Vincent stuff.
right, exactly. So I'm surprised that it ends up being just for an expiring pick. So I guess the league doesn't really value Schroeder the same way I did, apparently.
Not or me, or a lot of people that that are there. I mean, overall with the Raptors, I mean, Team Canada, let's go. Like you're almost giving Bill Simmons full plan now. You just got to go do this Wiggins trade Bruce Brown to the Warriors for Wiggins, and you're getting closer to having the All Canada. Well, we'd be what, 1 player away from the All Canada starting line. We got 3 now.
Yeah, we're just missing the best one. So
Yeah.
that would kind of be the one I would like to have, but
Yeah.
I don't think he's available for the next little while.
No.
But yeah, like it's gonna be neat. Like I saw that trade, and my first thought was, well, my parents are gonna like this because they they love Kelly Olynyk
Yeah.
when in Olympic qualifying or the World Cup, which we basically used as Olympic qualifying. But
Yeah.
so it's like it's fun, it's neat. Like if you're not gonna be good, I guess at least be Canadian. But I
Yeah,
like just
sure.
from a basketball standpoint, it doesn't make a ton of sense to me.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess another name with the Raptors too. I thought maybe, and you still could happen, was Pirtle, and
Mhm.
that's why I go up to kind of a transition here to like the next big trade that we had afterwards, which was the Gordon Hayward trade. Which even that I'm like, I don't get it. The guy's been injured since December, and the one thing I thought that OKC needed was a big, because you still got to go against Jokic, you still got to go against AD. There's that's kind of the path you have to go through with some of these bigs. And when you think it's the Clippers, you're not going to need them so much, but still Jokic, I don't think is ready. Chet is ready to face him 1-on-1. So I had 3 guys circled with Drummond and Vucic on the Bulls. And I was like, Jacob Partle,
Mhm.
if you're OKC, go all in and go get Jacob Partle, because he's someone that could, no one's going to be able to guard Jokic, but you want to be able to bang and swing with him in the paint. Instead, they go
Right.
get Gordon, who's been hurt since December, like I said, and you trade David Bertans, who, whatever, terrible contract. I feel like we talk about him every trade deadline, but he can stand, he can shoot. And then trade Trey Mann, who kind of lost his way in the rotation, but I'm almost like, rather almost have the cheaper contract with Trey Mann and see what I can get. I mean, Gordon, you're going to hear it over and over again, and the no dunk guys already said it today, but it's true. Like Gordon Hayward is going to have at least one playoff game he wins for OKC in the playoffs. He will, but and he's a free agent, so there's not a lot of risk. I just thought, like, with that Bertans contract, I would have used that for a Vooch, or for a Pirtle. And you have all these picks. At some point, OKC, you have to do something with these picks.
Yeah, and I thought like Pirtle had a really good kind of audition when he kind of kicked the crap out of Chet
Yeah.
in that double overtime game against the
Yeah.
Thunder a couple of nights ago. I thought, well, this is a great audition. Let's go,
Yeah.
because that is another piece. And you're right, like Oklahoma City is so desperate for a big, and we all kind of thought that the here's 4 quarters for $1 trade was coming, but Gordon Hayward, like I just he does exactly none of the things that Oklahoma City needed. Like, well, we
No.
already have a Gordon Hayward at home, kind of a thing with them. So I that one was really perplexing. Like it does, if he is healthy, which is a gigantic if. It does like raise the talent level. Like they do literally become a better basketball team. It just doesn't fill any needs that anyone perceived that they had.
Yeah. I don't, when I saw that one, I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, again, I'm trying not to be a homer here, but I kind of looked at my team, like the Lakers. I'm like, we could have used a Gordon Hayward because we just need a guy that can just get buckets.
Yeah.
OKC doesn't need that. They don't need guys that can get buckets. They need a big.
Yeah, no, buckets is not a problem in Oklahoma City. They've got that one figured out. Like, are they trying to? Oh, well, now instead of winning games 130 to 125, we'll win them 140 to 135. It's a weird fit. Like a bunch of these moves today kind of look like they should have happened a couple of weeks ago and then led to a bigger like, oh, Oklahoma City brought in this guy so they can flip him for da 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 da. So yeah, it's all very it's been a weird day for sure.
Yeah, because I had this talk yesterday, and I was like, because there's not the big overall name because Zach LaVine is off the list now, right? And Donovan Mitchell's not getting traded today because I think if the Cavs were maybe hovering around that 6-7 spot like they were for a while before they started figuring their stuff out, then maybe we'd have some Donovan Mitchell hovering, and it seems like Murray's off the table.
Yeah.
So there's not that big names. I'm like, oh, there's going to be a lot of trades that kind of make no sense. But then I was expecting like, oh yeah, like a Pirtle or a Vooch. Those are the kind of moves like, okay, that's going to be a move that happens. And then that move did happen though with the New York Knicks, who the Pistons are like, hey, go win the championship. Why not?
I love this for the Knicks. I know
I love it.
I know that's not a hot take. Like everyone loves it for the Knicks, but there's a reason for that because it's awesome for them. Like they basically like giving up Grimes is like they're kind of trading him a deadline too late. Like he was supposed to be a big thing involved in a lot of different things that they got. So from a Pistons standpoint, I actually don't mind it there, but they weren't using Grimes anyway. And so to basically take nothing out of your rotation base, your playoff rotation, and plug in 2 guys who fit exactly what you need, it's perfect. Like everyone had Burks going back to New York for a bit now. Like that was basically his first name for the last couple of weeks. It was future and also former New York Knick Alec Burks with a 3. Like that was basically his name. Bogdanovich in there is such a smart move for them as well. And now for a team that was struggling with some scoring off of the bench, once they get everyone healthy, like Randall coming back, we'll see if Mitchell Robinson comes back. This team can basically do a hockey line change and feel very good about it. Like this is a dangerous team now in the Eastern Conference.
The Knicks stuff today has been kind of crazy with my mindset. I'm like, man, the Knicks they're going to probably make the Eastern Final. I'm like, they could maybe make the championship.
Yeah.
They could maybe win the NBA. I've been like the progression of like, damn, like this is a good team. Like this is like again though, like I do think they are missing that dominant big. And you mentioned Mitchell Robinson. They'll need him back, but to get through the East at least, I don't think like I look at the Celtics who have been up and down lately. Like this team can beat the Celtics in a 7-game series. Milwaukee's so all over the place right now. They can beat them. Who knows what's going on with Philly and the Embiid injury? We'll talk about Philly in a second here. They made a trade today. And the Heat are all kind of messed up right now. I'm like, huh. But then it's just because it's been the Knicks and it's just been so long with being bad. You're just like, but I'm like, but then you, like you said, you look at up and down in this roster, you get a better version of Grimes and Alex Burke, and then the Brenon Bogey that can knock down threes for you whenever, and you get rid of the Evan Fournier contract, which was dead weight. You get rid of Malachi Flynn, who just wasn't working. So that's fine. And yeah, Grimes was a nice piece, but for what you needed to go forward in the playoffs, Burks is a way better fit for you in the playoffs.
100%, 100%. And yeah, like you just like you said, you look at the roster and it's like even if Robinson doesn't come back, Hartenstein has played a
Oh, he's
whole
been
lot better.
good. I love
And
Hartenstein.
Precious Achua has,
Yes.
now that he's away from the Raptors, he's finally having the breakout that I kept predicting he was going to have on the
Yes.
Raptors. Which is annoying as all hell, but you get used to those sorts of things, I
Classic
suppose.
Toronto guy going to New York, whether it be a pitcher or an NBA player.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, like I really like this Knicks team, and I look at them right now as the second best team in the East,
Yep.
and that would mean Eastern Conference Finals against the Boston Celtics. As like,
Oh,
it,
give it to me.
oh, that would be. You're saying that whichever network has the East playoff this year, whether it's ESPN or TNT, is also saying give it to me.
Well,
Because
in
that would
our
be
adult lives, when was the last time we saw the Garden like matter? Like for hockey, it's mattered once or like it's
yeah.
mattered, right? For basketball, was it like that Raptor series with Chris Childs?
Right. Yeah. Like we got a taste of it against Trae Young a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But that was a first round series where it's like, we don't really, whatever. But like this is like a Knicks team with a legitimate chance at a championship. Like probably not since like 2000, basically. And even then, like that team was an 8 seed. Like basically not since Ewing rimmed out that layup against the Indiana Pacers have we thought like this Knicks team could be this good. And then like you go up against Boston and it's like it wouldn't be completely out of character for the Celtics to slip on a banana peel. Like Tatum gets a little bit banged up. All of a sudden they have nothing else, really. We saw that last year.
Porzingis is already getting a little bit banged up. Drew
right,
Holiday's
exactly.
always close to it.
Yeah, so like they have put themselves in a really, really good spot. They're Zach Lowe brings this up all the time. One of their issues is like as great as Brunson has been, they are always going to have at best the second best star in a series against like the Knicks or the Bucks. Maybe not the 76ers now. But then into the finals with like a Jokic or Lakers or Clippers or whoever. Like Brunson is just not on those guys' level. But then like 2 through 10, this team is very, very, very good.
And Bronson is riding up the New York Express right now. Like I would bet you right now, if you ask New York fans who they love, if they made like to the third round, if you ask New York fans who they like more, Jalen Brunson or Aaron Judge, there'd be a few that would say Brunson. And I know some people say that's blasphemous, but you've got to remember, as much as New Yorkers love the Yankees, they love their Knicks almost more at times. It's a basketball city. It's the mecca of basketball. And Bronson, like, he's almost getting ahead of Melo. Like, I talked to a Knicks fan yesterday, and I thought it was crazy that even asking me that. He's like, I don't know. I really like Bronson because he just kind of fits that John Starks, Mark Jackson, Strickland, like kind of New York guard for so long. And everyone, when they did that signing, was like, that's a lot to play Jalen Brunson. But it was kind of like, a kind of equivalent, we'll see, but with our Raiders getting AP, right? It was the culture move. It was also a very good player.
Yeah.
But it just changed the entire culture there. And a guy like Julius Randle, who was up and down with New York fans, didn't have to do everything. You can use him once in a while. And then the OG trade, just absolutely dynamite. Like they've just done every single thing correct there. And it helps to have Tibbs as a coach as well.
Well, and like one of the things that was so prevalent last year was the Miami Heat and Heat culture, right? The Knicks are kind of starting to build Knicks culture around Brunson and now OG, who fits Tibbs perfectly, and Tibbs really setting that whole the whole culture up. Basically, it is a team now that has an identity, and we haven't said that about the Knicks for a very long time, aside from an identity of being bad. Like it's a positive Knicks identity for the first time in a real long time. There's now you can look at a player in the draft or in free agency like, oh yeah, that's it, that guy's a Knick. Where before the only time you would say that is, well, he's 35 and going to want $100 million, so that's probably a Knick.
Yeah. The other trade that happened in the Eastern Conference, I guess Philly's not done.
Yeah, I guess
they're they traded Patrick Beverley, and I'll talk about the significance of that in a second. I think we can see what those dominoes are going now with why that happened. But they traded with Indiana. Buddy Hield goes for Marcus Morris and Korkmaz. Korkmaz finally, after 2 years of wanting to get it traded, he finally gets traded to Indiana. I'm sure he's thrilled. And 3 second-round picks. Laker fans again are punching the air because we've been connected to Buddy Hield for so long, and that's all it took. I was like, damn it, that's all it took to get Buddy Hield. It's a great move. It just I can't estimate what Philly is without Embiid, so I can't give you and the Patrick Beverly trade we're talking a bit, but trading Beverly more or less, I'm assuming means that Lowry, when he gets waived from the Hornets, that he'll go back home to Philly. Cool, good moves. I can't tell you what Philly is until I really know what this Embiid injury fully is.
Yeah, and I mean Daryl Morey isn't gonna wave the white flag on anything, so this is
No.
him trying to get better. And you watched that game last night against Golden State, and it was just like Golden State was playing like good Golden State again, which was nice to see. But it was just so clear that they just didn't have the firepower to keep up. And then Maxey has a bad game, and
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? So this gives them the scoring that they desperately need right now. But yeah, like their season is obviously going to hinge on whether Joel Embiid can come back or not, right? And if he doesn't, then like they're losing to whoever in the first round, right? Cleveland or whatever. That
And Buddy
spots,
Hield's a free agent, so it's not the end of the world.
yeah, and like you said, you didn't give up that much.
No.
And so, but I think like if Embiid comes back and you have a three-headed monster of Maxey, Hield, and Embiid, it's pretty good. That's pretty good, right? Like that, I think that beats Cleveland in the first round, and then you're probably going up against the Celtics in the second round. And you're probably going to lose, but you're probably going to lose to them anyway. So it makes them better, and I think that was always going to be Philly's spot. Like there's no world where they were going to be able to be worse enough to tank and get a good draft pick and try to Tim Duncan this thing. With the San Antonio Spurs with the year that David Robinson was out. So I think this is just them trying to make the best of a bad situation. It fits a need, so I kind of like it from Philadelphia's standpoint.
Yeah, I think for them, it's just stay above water. Make sure we don't get into a play-in game, stay in the playoffs wherever we go. We know we had the guy that before the injury was the favorite for the MVP to go back to back. So we know that, we can still be a good team. And he kind of becomes the best shooter they've had since JJ Redick
Yeah.
in that spot. So that's not a bad thing to have with him and Maxey in your backcourt. He opens a lot of room and space, and you weren't using Morris. You weren't using Korkmaz. 3 second-round picks. Good luck with Indiana trying to hit on those. They get some draft capital back. They lost to the Raptors. So, see what happens on that. I think it's kind of a win for both teams because, Andrew Nembhard and Naismith we're starting to find some more dominant spots in the Indiana rotation of the guard spot. So it made sense for them to move on Buddy, and he's an expiring. So you get 3 second-round picks, excuse me, for Buddy Hield. Yeah, it's not too bad for Indiana.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Like he was kind of working, or he had kind of been pushed out a little bit.
Yeah.
And now like Korkmaz can come in and hit a couple of threes in a big spot or something like that. But no, that this is, I think it makes sense for both sides, and I like what Philly is at least trying to do here.
And then we'll talk about the Patrick Beverly trade in a sec, but I'm just assuming now, like Lowry's probably either going to Philly or the Lakers, but with that Pat Bev move, it makes a lot more sense he's going to go to Philly.
Yeah, that one makes all the sense in the world that he goes there. They kind of I guess they do bring in campaign in the Beverly trade, but still it's some guard depth there for Philadelphia. Lowry back in Philly. It cool for him. I don't know how much Kyle Lowry has left, but he's not going to be relied upon as much as I think he was in Miami. So I think it's a good landing spot for him.
Dallas did a few trades. One, I don't really understand the other one, but the small one, getting Daniel Gafford for Rashawn Holmes, love it. I'd love Daniel Gafford. That's just getting Rashawn Holmes and whatever the draft compensation is going to be. It's going to be like a second-round pick. That's a great trade by Dallas. I love Daniel Gafford, and that's a deep cut because not a lot of people are watching Wizards games.
Yeah, Gafford is someone who I've liked for a bit. And like again, he's not game breaker or anything like that, but he's a fine rim protector, and so that now gives Dallas exactly one player who plays defense, which is nice to have, I suppose.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's just the value is 100% there, and it's a player who I've always really liked, and I think I like that move a lot for Dallas. Yeah,
that's what I thought OKC should have been doing. Is going after a guy like that, and then
he would have been perfect there.
So good. And like if it's just a Rashawn Holmes, you can figure something out with it. Give him you have so many picks, OKC.
Yeah.
Preston, you have to do something with these picks. I know you like drafting, but you're past that now. You're a contender.
Yeah, like a first and some salary, just done. It's one of your firsts. Just pick one, and like a salary, whatever. Like who cares? Just do it. I don't like what OKC's done.
I didn't like this trade for Dallas. I really don't like this trade for Dallas. PJ Washington, who I do like. I want to say that first and foremost. I do like PJ Washington. But Grant Williams, Seth Curry, and a first-round pick go Charlotte.
Yeah.
What a
The,
trade
the,
by them.
the price is steep. Grant Williams,
Man.
Grant Williams just wasn't working in Dallas.
No. No.
That has been very, very clear. And so I wonder if like the first round pick is a little bit of Grant Williams tax.
Mm,
But I mean, you also need to make salaries work and stuff like that. I didn't mind this trade so much. Like a 27 first is a
that's
bit
true.
risky for a Dallas team
Yeah.
that was in the missed the playoffs last year, has Kyrie who could just explode at any point.
I think Luka's a
Um
free agent around then too.
I believe so, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that yeah, it's a bit risky, but I think this is a Dallas team that is kind of just looking at the here and now and just like, look, we have one of the best players alive. Can we just go for it? And so that's why I don't look at this one as that bad of a deal, honestly. I like Washington quite a bit. And
I do too.
I think now with Dallas, you can roll out a starting five of like Luka, Kyrie, Gafford,
Likely.
Washington, and then like Kleber or someone like that. And you feel pretty good about that starting five in the West. I like what Dallas has done. Is it a bit of an overpay? I mean, yeah, like you said, good for
Yeah.
Charlotte. You get Seth Curry in Charlotte, so finally a
We
Curry
finally
has
got a
gone
Curry
to
in
Charlotte.
Charlotte.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Williams maybe with more minutes now in a more prominent role in Charlotte, you can bump up his trade value and flip him for something down the road, and you get a first round pick out of it. So I think it's good work from Charlotte, but I think it checks a box that Dallas needed to check, just in a way that's maybe a bit more aggressive than they needed to.
Yeah, I guess when you bring it up, like having now Gafford and PJ in the starting, and or you can go Likely. It doesn't really matter. You can go with one of
Yeah,
those two. But now,
yeah.
I guess for the first time you can say in a while, since like Tyson Chandler and Dirk, the front court is actually sustainable in Dallas. And then you have Luka with Kyrie there. I'm not sure who the two guard is. I guess Tim. I guess Tim Hardaway is the two
Yeah,
guard then probably.
yeah.
I still think they need to use a little bit more help to get something with the two guard there. So there's still time. I mean, Joe Harris just got waived by the Pistons, so maybe that's someone I will look at if I were them, is to go look at a Joe Harris.
Pistons are going
Yeah,
wave crazy.
they're going crazy. They waived Killian Haynes too, which
Yeah,
is wow.
yeah, and House as
Um,
well just
yeah,
got
and
let
Daniel
go.
House too. Yeah. Um, yeah. So maybe I've warmed up a little bit more after talking about it, but good for Charlotte. They've gotten some assets today for guys that weren't fitting on this roster. I mean, we're still waiting to see what Bridges is. Apparently, he has a no trade clause, which I don't know how he got the rights with everything that he had. How does that guy
Yeah,
get a no trade clause? That makes no sense.
I would have thought just him being him and given everything that's going on was no trade clause enough.
Yeah.
That is quite surprising. Yeah.
Um, Royce O'Neal goes to Phoenix for 2 second-round picks. Nice move by Phoenix. Royce O'Neal is a nice defender, two-way player, and they're starting to figure their stuff out. So didn't have to give up a lot. So I don't mind that trade for them.
No, I like that for them. That they need actual NBA players beyond their big three, and Royce O'Neal fits that. So I think it's actually a pretty good depth move here for Phoenix.
And another depth move they made too is they got David Roddy from the Suns. Again, decent depth move. Not mad
Yeah.
at it. Brooklyn waived Harry Giles. It's kind of sad. Like that guy, when he went to Duke, everyone thought like this was going to be like the next great guy. And I mean, and he's had injuries and stuff like that, but it hasn't worked with him.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's a lot of those, right? Where you think it's going to be a lock and then, oh, guess not.
Memphis is expected to get Yuta Watanabe out of that trade. So Yuta,
Mm.
Kevin Durant's buddy, is gone.
Yeah, I like love Yuta when he was a Raptor. Always thought there could be something there, but it doesn't really seem like it. And now he kind of just this is gonna sound more disrespectful than I intended. Kind of just gets added to the pile in Memphis where they just have like
Yeah.
13 dudes who I've never heard of basically playing right now. So maybe Yuta gets some starter minutes. Who knows?
And then the last one we kind of talked about was Patrick Beverly to the Bucks for campaign and a second-round pick, kind of just switching guards there. Helps the defense, which the Bucks definitely needed help with their defense because they definitely lost that with Drew.
Yeah, to the point where I am surprised Philly did that. Like you look at obviously they're freeing up a spot potentially and some money to go out and get Kyle Lowry, but that is like the exact type of a player that the Milwaukee Bucks have desperately needed this entire
I know.
season is someone who can guard anything on the perimeter. And now you get one of like he's not what he was a few years ago, still one of the best in the league at doing that at the guard spot. So I think that this is Like it's the exact type of player Milwaukee needs, to the point where I'm a little surprised Philly ended up doing that.
I'm a big believer in never trade with rivals, especially in the playoffs. Like, I mean, we did it and it screwed us. We traded Zubac for Mike Muscala a few years ago. And even when that trade happened, I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
Zubac is actually good. Mike Muscala is, at the time, he was fine, but he just stretches the floor and he doesn't really do anything.
yeah.
So I'm a big believer in never really doing that. We're half away from the half an hour away from the deadline. We've actually been able to get through everything here pretty good because nothing's really happened yet. So
Yeah, it's been
we
quiet
get
basically since we logged on.
yeah, so we actually get to react to. I would assume there'll be at least one more trade.
Oh yeah, no, I think it'll still be busy here in the next little bit.
It does sound like the Lakers sound like they're going to stand pat. And I mean, the problem with the
Wow.
Lakers is there's nothing to do. There's no trade to really have. Like I said, like D'Lo's been really good the last handful of games, so I don't think you need to trade D'Lo. I think trading Reeves right now. I think you're trading 20 cents on the dollar because of what he can be. And he's had a few rough games here and there, but I don't think it's time to trade AR right now. You'd be looking at some of the rookies, right? Like a Max Lewis or maybe Max Christie, say a second, third year for Max Christie. Maybe Jalen Hood, Shafino. I mean, I would personally be okay trading Gabe Vincent at this point, just because he's an asset that's not working right now, and you need to start making a push. I think with the Lakers though, it's just kind of a thing of just kind of like last year. It's like right now they're the ninth seed. The 3 games out of the actual playoffs right now. As long as they have LeBron and AD, it's just kind of like, oh, we can't really count anything else. And I don't know what the move is. I don't know what the move is or its health. I mean, the Vando injury really hurt them because they needed some help on the wing there. The move to me is just firing Darvin Ham. That's the move.
Like it's just, to me, D'Angelo Russell, I don't care how well he is playing. That contract was signed to trade him at some point.
Yes, it
Uh,
was.
to like he was supposed to be the salary involvement in whatever move that they made. And while maybe he's playing a bit better now, this team is still not good enough. And to have a healthy LeBron and healthy AD season, basically, and to
Yeah,
be ninth is shocking.
bad. It's
And
rough.
it's really bad. And the frustrating thing from a Laker standpoint is, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here, the need is so obvious. Like it's not like oh man, like we got a talented roster. I don't know X, Y, and Z. It's like no, this team sucked for 18 months in the half court. So get someone who can do that. That's why I thought a Dennis Schroeder would work. Gary Trent Jr. is someone
Yeah,
who could be available today. He would
yeah. We
work
didn't even
there
mention
from
him.
in kind of a swap of our two teams. But like, I mean, the best one I think would obviously be like DeMar DeRozan. Just checks so many
I know,
boxes
I
there.
know. Or even
Um,
Caruso.
Right. Yeah. And so if you could get the salaries together and just give them whatever they want and get DeRozan and Caruso, like that just it checks the box that you need. And then all of a sudden you become a team that could be a real player in the West. Like right now, I get you have LeBron and AD, and so that makes you a threat, but I'm not picking the Lakers right now over the Clippers. I'm not picking them over
No,
the Denver Nuggets.
no.
I'm probably Thunder maybe just because I matchup wise and stuff like that. But even then, it'd be a 7 game dogfight.
Yeah,
So you go on down the West. Like, would I pick Minnesota over the Lakers right now? Probably. Like I just
I don't blame you.
and so it's like okay, great. Like maybe you get in and maybe you win around, but you're wasting still a good LeBron James season, and he's not what he was. But holy hell, man! Like it's just it is
Well,
right
maybe the
there for
last LeBron season too. Like he could be gone. I mean, I think that's maybe. I think the reason that Palinka's not being as aggressive right now is he's like, we all know Bronny's going to go back to SC next year
you. Yeah,
because he's falling out of the draft. And look, that kid had a damn heart attack.
right.
So I don't want to hear any criticism about this kid. The fact he's playing basketball this year is awesome. Good
Yeah,
for him. And Isaiah Collier, the best player on the Trojans, got hurt. So that doesn't help things. But hey, the fact that kid had a freaking heart attack and is playing basketball as fast as he did, that's awesome. But he'll
yeah.
go back. He'll go back into to the Trojans next year. There's no sense in going to the NBA. So the Lakers are calling his bluff. They are calling his bluff right now. Being like, you're not leaving. You're staying in LA. You're not going anywhere. I mean, and maybe he'll. No, I talked to a buddy because there were some of the Knicks rumors with the stupid towel thing, even though every Knicks towel is a Knicks towel in the Garden for any team.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, the one buddy that's a Knicks fan, as we talked about the Knicks, like, I don't want LeBron. He's like, all of a sudden, he's like, hey, I don't like Isaiah Hartenstein, trade him. And I don't like all the things that work for the Knicks are all going to be gone. Kind of like all the things that you see now as a Laker fan, we got the championship. But then you kind of like, oh, see Brandon Ingram and Julius Randle and all these guys. And you're like, that would have been maybe who knows what this could have actually been if we didn't get LeBron. I don't know.
Yeah, I like, to me, like, okay, if you want to call his bluff, then call his bluff, but you have him right now. So go out
Yeah.
and try to win this
Well,
thing right
Devontae
now.
makes sense because I heard Simmons say this, like, oh, it's just a 1-for-1. And I don't agree with that because Devontae plays defense, which is the one thing we don't have. And you see a lot of the defenders now. Bron's defense isn't what it is. AR slipped a little bit on defense. And you see defenders now slipping and cheating on D'Lo, slipping and cheating on AR, slipping and cheating on LeBron. And the one thing that helped the Lakers win the bubble championship and helped us get to where we were last year was our defense. We ranked in the high in the defense. The teams are exposing LeBron because he's not good. AR slipped, and D'Lo's terrible at defense. If you bring a Devontae Murray in, he's a good defender and he can score. So there's one extra defender you have on top of AD and possibly Vando. And AR's not a bad defender. He's just slipped a little bit. And LeBron, he can't do it on both sides as much anymore because he's 39 years old.
Yeah, like it would be absurd to expect him to do that, right? Like he is already playing better than basically any 39-year-old has ever played in the history of the sport.
Yeah.
So to expect anything more from him would be just utterly absurd. And that's why, like, just get him some help. I don't understand how the Lakers stand pat in all of this because, like, yes, we just rattled off all of the teams who would beat them in a 7-round series, or that we presume could beat them in a 7-round series. But you're like a move or two away from being one of the favorites in the West. Like if you got, and I get the salaries would be very difficult to manage, but if you got a DeMar and a Caruso, then all of a sudden I'm favoring you over the Clippers, and I'm certainly favoring you over the Thunder and the Timberwolves, and it's basically just a matchup of you and the Nuggets. So the need is so obvious in LA, and it's been so obvious.
They're playing the what if game way too much of like, well, what if Vando comes back and what if Gabe Vincent comes back? But they're hurt right now. And Gabe Vincent's been hurt all season. This is Kendrick Nunn all over again for us. And Vando's injury went from, it's season ending to, it might be 4 months to, bring up the Bulls. I look at the Bulls and I'm like, Bulls, what are you doing? Like what I know Vucic had this thing the other day. It's like, I want to stay together and we have something here. It's like, you don't have something there. Tear this. Like, if you're the Bulls right now, you should be going to the Lakers and being like, okay, we will give you DeMar and we will give you Caruso. Let's try to make this all work. You give us Jalen Hood-Schifino, you give us a Max Christie. Those are young guys we get. Give us that first round pick in 2029, some second round picks, and sure, we'll take on injured Gabe Vincent and whatever else you want to give us. And then you're the Lakers, like, cool. Now we got it. We go for it. And at the end of the day, too, here's the thing, too. Everyone, because I will play with kind of more what I think. Everyone's talking like, they're going to call LeBron's bluff and he'll be there next year. And that's why they're going to be stubborn and not trade the pick this year. Kind of like LeBron's last season with the Cavs. They didn't trade that first round pick that turned out to be Colin Sexton. The difference is this year is you don't know how, this is the Lakers. This isn't Cleveland. You're always going to get somebody. It always more or less works out for us somewhere or another. Someone will always end up coming to LA. So, you don't, the last time we had draft picks, we never waited long enough for them to work with Julius Randle or Ingram or even D'Lo. We didn't wait. We traded them. Yeah. So this is LA. This is what we do. You trade those picks and you get better.
Yeah. No, that like it's never, losing is never going to be okay in LA, right? Like it was like there was a stretch there where it kind of became a bit of a norm. Like it's on waiting on like Russell and Randall and all of those guys, like the last couple of Kobe years and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the infamous clip of Kobe rolling his eyes at the guy celebrating after an 8-game losing streak comes to an end. Yeah. But for the most part, like, you're the Lakers, and still, even if LeBron leaves, you still have AD, who maybe he is not the franchise player that everyone thought he was when you traded the world for him a few years ago. He's still very, very good at the sport of basketball.
Peter, the rumor right now is they think they can get Donovan Mitchell this summer. So their hope is that, whatever happens this season happens this season. LeBron's going to be a free agent. LeBron will stay, and they'll be able to trade for Donovan Mitchell because the Pelicans will make the decision on the pick if they take the pick this year or go next year. Personally, if I'm the Pelicans, I take the pick next year because it's a much better draft. So then they'll have this pick this year to trade to the Cavs. But I'm also like, okay, well, what else are you trading to the Cavs? Like this theory all of a sudden is like, oh, we can get Donovan Mitchell next year because Donovan Mitchell wants to be traded. It's like, okay, so you got the pick. So let's say you traded 2024 or 25, whatever one it is, and 29. What else are you trading? You're trading D'Lo for Donovan Mitchell?
Right.
AR? Like Austin Reeves? Like for Donovan Mitchell? I don't know. Even,
Yeah.
there's much better trades the Cavs can get for Donovan Mitchell than D'Lo, AR, maybe Max Christie and some picks.
On a Cavs team that like they aren't your traditional selling off a star. Like they have
No.
a foundation around him, right? Like um it's started to click there. And yeah, like you still have to figure out the Mobley Allen thing, but it seems like Mobley has kind of figured out his role there. And
Yeah.
even if Mitchell leaves, like Garland is a fine replacement. Like they're a playoff team without him. So they're not just going to take, oh my gosh, a first round pick. Thank you. They're going to want something that will help them out now. And the Lakers don't have that. And Freudian slip there throwing the Knicks in, but this was the Knicks problem for a decade where, oh,
Yeah.
well, free up cap space and LeBron will want to come here. Okay, well, this guy will want to come here. This guy will want to come here. Well, we got Mari Stoudemire, so that's something. And like you keep basing your entire thing on, well, we'll get the next one. Well, we'll get the next one. It's like you have two right now. And
we made this issue with Kobe. We're like, we'll get LaMarcus Aldridge, and he didn't even take a meeting with us. Like you can't. You're like you said. We got a full 80 and LeBron healthy season right now, and Reeves is great. I love Reeves, but you got to make the opportunity while you can right now, and those picks don't really matter. And so you're just going to take a chance here. I mean, even if we just traded Caruso for Gabe Vincent, I'd be happy right now.
Yeah. Right. Like,
just
honest, even just Caruso helps, right? Like, just get a little bit of help in there. You don't need a ton. You're not the Raptors. You're not whoever, right? Like, you have a good foundation in place. You kind of just need one or two more pieces.
Yeah. And I mean, the argument will be made, well, when they won the play-in tournament, that's when they all went hard and they all play hard again. I'm like, maybe. I don't know. I mean, they looked really good during the play-in. And, I mean, Larry David's whole thing is that they played too hard, and now that they don't have anything left. So I don't know if I want to trust in Larry David's sports analysis or not. But the other team in the West to keep an eye on, 15 minutes there left in the deadline. And then it's about 15, 20 minutes left in this pod before we get out of here. I'm kind of surprised the Warriors haven't done anything either.
Yeah, like they played well last night, but still, like it's not working there. And this is another one. Steph Curry is still Steph Curry, right? And you don't know how many Steph Curry years you have left. And to waste it, and I get that there's been the injury problem with Chris Paul, but to waste it with some of the guys who they are giving real minutes to, like maybe Podziemski turns into something big down the road.
We have a trade.
I don't know. Oh, we have a trade.
The Spurs and the Pacers.
Oh boy.
Doug McDermott is going to Indiana.
Dougie McBuckets.
Love him there.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, look.
Why did we not do this trade? I didn't even do this.
Oh my God. Right. Like we'll see what the return is. I can't imagine it's a lot.
No, so, yeah, that's a good trade for Indiana.
I love Indiana. Just going like, you know what? Yeah, we don't play defense. We're not going to play any defense. We're going to score 150 on you.
It cost them a second round pick.
A future second
round pick for Doug McDermott. Wow. Great get.
It's a smart pick.
We talk about, we'll go back to the Dubs in a second, but this Indiana team is like a very interesting playoff team.
Yeah. We'll see. Like, eventually you do need to get a stop in the playoffs, right? And they don't have anyone who can do that.
I mean, Turner, but that's about it.
Yeah. McDermott's an expiring contract. 13 point. Oh my God. Good for Doug McDermott.
It's a great deal that he got.
13.75 million for Doug McDermott.
Spurs, I'm begging you should have tried to get a point guard. Go get TJ McConnell to help out Wemby.
Okay. Totally off topic. What do you think Doug McDermott's career earnings are?
Oh God. So he's played, I remember him getting drafted was like what, 2014 he got drafted?
Yeah.
So that's been in the NBA for 10 years. Rookie contract was probably about 10, I'd say over 200.
No, he's made $73 million in his career. So
okay.
That seemed absurdly high for a guy who has peaked at, he's all right. But that's NBA, right? I spend most of my time talking about
probably get the same amount this offseason. He'll probably get anywhere from 8 to 13.
Yeah. Good for him. Good for him. But no, like I like you said, like this Indiana team is interesting where it's just like that, like he's basically a Buddy Hield replacement now, right? Like where he just come in, throw up a whack load of threes and hope for the best. And like they have a ton of guys who are like that. Like I think because he's on this team, Halliburton gets overlooked because I think Halliburton's a fine defender. It's just no one
Yep.
else on this team covers anyone. But this offense is crazy, and now you get just another bucket getter. It's they're doubling down on who they are. That's for sure.
Marcus Morris is getting traded around today. He got traded part of the Pacers deal to San Antonio. I think maybe it was Markieff, but one of the Morrises famously spurned the Spurs
Mm,
and was going to sign there and didn't the last second. I'm assuming he'll get waived.
I would imagine
Maybe
so.
got to
Yeah.
go to a contender. And Woj just announced officially, Atlanta has announced they will not trade Devontae Murray. I don't. Again, I kind of with the Bulls in Atlanta, it's kind of the same thing. I was like, you should be trying to trade these assets for something, but maybe they just the talks stalled with the Pels this morning, and then
Yeah.
Utah kind of got into it, and it seems like the Lakers just they wanted Reeves, and the Lakers weren't going to budge on Reeves. So
Yeah. I like Atlanta 10th right now, like you said. A game and a half up on Brooklyn, 4 games up on the Raptors, so watch out for them. So like they'll probably get into the play-in. God, that Bulls Hawks is the East play-in if the playoffs started today.
I know, please
Um,
Raptors take us from the, at least you're somewhat interesting.
it's has a playing game been on NBA TV before? That's not really a big one.
But it's
But
just
yeah,
so
like
bad.
it's just again with Atlanta, it's just not working. I don't get why you're going to try to continue to make it work. And that's why I get so frustrated with these teams sometimes. And why
Yeah.
I get frustrated with like all these deals happening now, where like if you know something isn't working, change it, fix it. If you know you need something, fix it. Like I don't understand. Just oh well, we like the group that we have. Well, you shouldn't. I just
Two
it
and
doesn't.
28 when you're paying a crap like you're paying almost what? Probably it's like almost 70 mil to your backcourt, and it's
Yeah,
not working. The trade I loved, I think it was Zach Lowe or Kevin O'Connor. Kevin O'Connor actually had Trey going to the Spurs. I'm like, yes,
yeah,
please let
yeah.
me have this trade. For Atlanta, it's not working. You know, you traded John Collins in the summer. You have some fun guys there. I like Okonwe. I don't think he gets enough run. I mean, Clint Capella, again, that's a guy like if you're OKC or someone, go try to go get Clint Capella even.
Right. A
Um,
second round pick and something should get that done. Right. Like
I like Jalen Johnson there. He's good. There's pieces there, but when they brought in Snyder, I thought, okay, they got their coach, but it's just not clicking. And I think it's just because it's not a team that clicks around what Trey is, and it's going to take a lot more than just like, oh, we like our team, maybe next year, and we'll draft right and figure. At this point, I don't like to just be the guy that says blow it up every single time.
yeah,
But if you're Atlanta, blow it up. Trade
yeah.
the thing I bet you that's holding out on the Devontae part is it's because this buyer's remorse situation, right?
They're already in too deep.
They traded 4 draft picks for Devontae Murray. We got to trade. I'll get to that in a second, and it's not going to be a happy one for some people. But they traded 4 picks for Devontae, so they expect to get at least that much back, and they're not. Teams
No.
are like, you're not going to give you that. The Bucks have traded Robin Lopez to the Kings, and Robin Lopez will be bought out. So if the Bucks win right now, it will just be the Antetokounmpos that can win a championship together. The Lopez brothers will not win a championship together.
Yeah, devastating. Those ones are always so weird. Like, yeah, we'll buy your guy out. That's fine. Works for us.
Yeah. Go
Like
get
it's
him again. OKC, Robin
yep,
Lopez is not a bad option for a backup center. Even Knicks, like anyone that's looking for a bad backup center, Robin Lopez, you could do worse.
yeah, 100%.
You could do
It's fine.
worse.
Any big that's out there, it's like, oh yeah, OKC.
Seriously, but that's like I worry about them going against Jokic, and it's Chet is just not ready for that yet.
No, no, it's just not. And like there's so much of his game that is ready. But that particular part of it, like he had trouble with Pirtle the other night. So no, I would have some concerns. Even like you look at the matchups they could have. That Pelicans team, if like JV went down to an injury last night, I think it was just a calf contusion. He's probably
Yeah.
fine. But like JV would beat the hell out of that kid in a
Oh
first round
God.
series. And if it's not him, it's Zion Williamson.
Yeah.
Like I watched that Pelicans Clippers game last night, and I was just like, man, New Orleans, if Zion could just figure it out, New Orleans is really, really good because you shouldn't be able to guard him, right? Like they put Plumlee on him for a little bit, who would back into the paint basically and give Zion a running start. That doesn't work. So they put Harden on him for a little bit, and he like literally and figuratively ate him and went in. Now he's missing everything at the rim because he's lost a half of a step, but like they are a team that should give teams a lot of problems as well. Like they are one that
Yeah.
I don't think you should sleep on out west.
No, I 100% agree. It's weird. I never remember so many trades that it was for cash, by the way. The
Yeah.
Kings gave them cash. It's like, what is the Bucks gave the Kings cash? What's the benefit of that for the Kings? Kings kind of need people too, by the way. They kind of need like some of these. I mean, I don't think the Kings would do it, but like if I were, a team calling Sacramento today, I'm like, what would it take from Malik Monk? Like he's a free agent. Like what would it take to get Malik Monk? Just
Yeah.
curious. You're 29-20 right now. Like you could fall into the play-in. Just curious, what would you take from Malik Monk?
Yeah. Sacramento's another one. Like they feel like theirs is less obvious because I like a lot of the pieces. Like I like Monk, and Sabonis and Fox, but it's like they still feeling like they just need to be better. But then I mean they're 5.5 games out of first place right now. It's just that puts you in 7th.
Yeah, the West is so close. Other than like Dallas and the Lakers and the Pels just being so wonky and up and down, and Denver is just not even trying. I don't think.
No, Denver's in cruise control right now.
Yeah, they're not like they're barely. Like Phoenix is kind of getting their stuff together. The Clippers, I don't expect to do anything at all, especially with there's like 7. I am still shocked that we're now 7 minutes. We'll give it like the extra 5 or so afterwards because there's always that kind of one that tweaks out after.
Yeah,
but Bruce Brown potentially staying on the Raptors, I'm both surprised and not surprised because now, like you said, like if the Raptors, to kind of bring it back full circle, if Masai does these trades today, I was like, we're so on the borderline of losing that pick to the Spurs anyways.
Yeah.
Let's just be good enough and try to get in. And we think we're better than Atlanta and Chicago. And truthfully, they are.
Yes. Oh, they 100% they are. And like they've had this weird stretch right now. Like I think Quickley and Barrett have had like one home game. Like Brown hasn't even played a game in Toronto. They haven't played at home since Boxing Day. So they've been on the road quite a bit here. With like, I mean, recently getting ready for All-Star game festivities and all of those things in the NHL. But they could absolutely go on a bit of a run to 10th. Like they get into the play-in. It's the same thing as last year. Like they probably should have beat Chicago in that play-in. They couldn't hit a free throw and then they were hooped.
DeMar's daughter's like, nope.
Yeah. Like say you get into the 9-10 game and you beat Chicago. Orlando or Miami will eat you alive if you're Toronto. So you're banking this entire thing on maybe not even getting a home playoff game or a home play-in game, sorry. And then like if you do squeak through, Boston's going to rip you apart.
So I'm going to get you really mad about the Raptors here.
Okay.
To avoid a 1.5 upcoming contract bonus, the Raptors are waiving Spencer Dinwiddie.
So they traded Schroeder for literally nothing.
Schroeder and Thad Young.
Yeah, for
not even a pick.
Not even a pick. Huh. What? I mean, that's it. Now, on the other end, like from a Toronto perspective, it makes no sense at all. No. Like it's sorry. I'm very choked up about it. I guess my justification of it's an expiring contract anyway, I guess like it just expires quickly now. But I really misvalued Schroeder then, because this was so clearly a player who I thought so many of these teams could use, and like
I wanted
depth
him
pieces
so bad. I wanted Dennis back. I would have, like I said, if I were Pelinka, I would have given you guys Jalen Hood-Schifino.
Yeah.
And that's not a name that's going to blow out to a lot of people. We do have another trade I'll get to in a second here. It's a very minor one. But it's like, at least you get like a young asset back. And now the Raps, I mean, I guess the Raps really care about cap space. I don't know who they think they're going to go after this. I'll have to check the free agents coming up here. It's a very interesting buyout class, by the way, all of a sudden.
Masai's going to draft Bronny anyway.
He's going to draft Bronny. Jared Springer, as the Sixers have traded Jared Springer to the Celtics for a 2nd-round pick.
Well, of all the players in the NBA, Springer is definitely one of them. Yes, I love the comments underneath. Steal, holy shit, we're winning it all. Love people like that. Yeah, I guess a depth move there, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, I don't really
The
know what the Celtics could have done, really. But
76ers saw Dinwiddie is going to be a free agent. It's like, all right, another roster spot. Let's go. Second round pick for
uh,
this guy. Let's do it.
so we got about 3 minutes here till the deadline's up. Like I said, we'll wait 5 minutes afterwards. But the big free agents are Maxi. He's going to get matched. Paul George, he'll
He's
stay.
staying.
Siakam. I mean, unless the
No.
Raptors are like, this was a swindle, we're gonna get him back this whole time.
Yeah.
LeBron, he has a player option. We'll pick up the player option, but I would assume we only think there's two teams. He's either being a Laker or he's gonna finally do this Knicks thing.
Yeah.
Drew
Or the
Holiday,
Raptors when they draft Bronny.
yeah, that. Drew Holiday, I've heard he's not taking his player option. You continually hear that, even though it's 33 million, he's not getting that on the open market.
No, I guess he'd want a bit more security.
Yeah.
But he's in a good spot too. Like that one.
Yep.
To each their own, I
Tobias
suppose.
Harris, Raptors aren't going after him.
No.
DeMar, there's no point at this point of his career to bring DeMar back for what
Oh
they're
no,
doing.
Siakam and DeMar. Let's just
Yeah.
roll back. Let's bring back LeBronto. Let's go.
Well, I guess you have to pay quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quickly. Harden, that's not happening. OG, he's on the Knicks now. Nicholas Claxton's an interesting one, but you kind of have Pirtle, so
Yeah, and Nick Claxton isn't a player that you make a bunch of moves to free up cap space the season before to get. That's we'll give you a first and trade this guy to you so we can sign this dude because we want to.
D'Lo
that
has
one
the player option, which I'm assuming you pick up. Malik Monk, like I mentioned. KCP has a player option. Miles Bridges, I don't want him anywhere. I don't think anyone wants him anywhere near any of their teams. I don't care if he dropped 48 points the other day. He's a scumbag.
Yeah.
Clay Thompson's not going to the Raptors. Buddy Hields, Bruce Brown, it's the team option, which I guess the Raptors make the decision. JV, time to come home.
Man, I'm telling you, they're just going to bring back the 17 Raptors and just do it all over again. JV, OG, Siakam, and DeMar. There we go. Lock it in.
One player that's a free agent this year that I'm surprised no one's gone after is Tyus Jones. I thought he would be a commodity somewhere. As we're about a minute away from the official deadline. We'll wait 5 more minutes really quick here. And the Raptors are officially keeping Bruce Brown.
Okay. I guess like pick up a team option and flip him at the deadline next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Caruso
know.
was made unavailable.
Huh.
Yeah. And
Why?
so was DeMar. And so was DeMar.
I don't get what they're doing
I
there.
don't get it.
I like that they needed to blow this up 2 years ago. Like you took your shot. Again, this is a team that 100% is like, well, we spent all of this draft capital trying to get these guys and bringing them in. And I liked it at the time, didn't work. It probably would have worked exponentially better if Ball played one game with any of these guys, but he just continuously hurt, and I guess like is his career over? I don't know what's going on with him. But he has been a player who like has needed to or he is a player that would have like been, I think, the final piece to get all of this together, but he's not there. So like it just accept this isn't working and make some moves. Like I don't get what Chicago is trying to do here at all.
The Raptors have traded a guy that you're familiar with, Delano Batten, to the Portland Trail Blazers for a heavily protected 2nd round pick.
Oh geez.
Yeah.
Banton, I mean, maybe we had a threshold for number of Canadians you could have. So now he is he is on his way out.
Yeah, maybe he gets waived. I suppose. We'll give it 4 more minutes here, then we'll wrap up. I mean, I guess we know who the winner is. The winner is the Knicks, and it's not even close.
No, unless something major comes in the next few minutes here. The winner of this is absolutely 100% the New York Knicks. That they had a need and they addressed it. They didn't really give up a ton, so I think they did pretty good. I think the other one, I think we disagree on how much they gave up, but I do think Dallas comes away from this.
You've talked me into it. You've talked me into it.
And also because none of the teams ahead of them really did a whole lot either, I guess. Like Phoenix getting Royce O'Neal, like it's basically any team that did anything feels like a winner, except for the Raptors. Feels like a winner today.
Made Andre Drummond unavailable to. What are we doing, Chicago? They're the loser. Like the Lakers not doing a move like we said. Like I know, but there was kind of like it was so hard to make the wiggle room work, and I expect them to go get Spencer Dinwiddie. That could be like a decent ad for the Lakers, or they go after a Lowry or Joe Harris. There's moves to make in the buyout market for them. The Bulls are the biggest losers here. Like
Yeah,
you had a chance to move forward with your future. Yeah, I get like if you had any player untouchable, it would be Kobe White. I get not trading Kobe White. You can't
100%.
trade Levine right now. And even if you didn't want to trade Vooch, I kind of get that. But to say that Andre Drummond is unavailable,
Yeah,
what?
well, we couldn't possibly move Andre Drummond.
I don't get it.
And even like the Levine thing too, like this team was barely good enough to be a playoff team with Zach Levine. Without him, they're nothing. Like this is not a good basketball team. And so like
DeMar is leaving. So even if you get like a second round pick for DeMar DeRozan, like
yeah.
you're doing kind of what the Raptors did last year with Van Fleet.
Yep.
It's like we might as well get something. At least with Bruce Brown, the Raptors control what happens to Bruce Brown. They have a team option. What is does Trent have an option, or is he just a free agent?
I believe he's just a free agent.
Right. So I mean, I would have liked that the Raptors maybe did something for him, but it's not the end of the world. Trent's been so up and down.
Yeah. But man,
But
he was one who I thought was a Laker for sure. Like that one just fit for me really well. But
and the Raptors, if they, there's still a chance they could keep their pick. They'll have another pick. So worst case scenario, you can trade you can trade two picks in this draft, and you have a $23 million Bruce Brown contract to trade at the debt at the draft or even in the summer. So I don't hate that part for the Raps, but I want to say the Raps were a loser in this. I'm just more confused by the moves.
yeah, it's a questionable direction, right? Like after you make the Siakam deal for futures and Bruce Brown, it's like, okay, they're actually going the tank route, blow it up then. And now they're just halfway in and halfway out, and they're floundering in this mediocre land with the Bulls, quite frankly, that you never want to be in the NBA. Like that, this is the worst spot to be right
and
now.
they
for
missed
Toronto.
out, Peter, because the Warriors just traded Corey Joseph to the Pacers. They missed out.
Oh,
they had
devastating.
their guard. They had their guard.
Yeah, another Canadian that we missed out on. That sucks.
They have their guard. Yeah, I mean they're kind of in the middle. I would say the biggest loser to me is the Bulls, though. The Bulls are the biggest of losers today. I don't get what the Bulls were doing, just kind of staying where they are, because I do look at that Raptors team. That's a Raptors team that will be pushing, and I'd say Atlanta, the ninth and the 10 seed, because Brooklyn got better.
Yeah, I guess. I guess.
I mean, Thad Young, you got Thad Young and Dennis, and you lose Dinwiddie and Royce O'Neal. Is that better?
Yeah, I don't know. They're kind of the same.
Yeah.
But they're an okay team anyway.
Well, and they
yeah,
wanted, they made Dorian Finney-Smith untouchable because they wanted multiple first-round picks for Dorian Finney-Smith.
I understand like the play-in is a bit more enticing now and stuff like that. Like, oh hey, Miami can do it. Why can't we do it? But it feels like it is making teams hold on way longer than they need to. And that's, I think, a problem for a number of these teams. If you're trying to fight to get into 10th now, like getting into 8th trying to squeak into 8th was bad enough as a veteran team. Trying to squeak into 10th is even worse, I think.
It sounds like Dinwiddie is going to go to the Lakers.
He is?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
That makes sense. Like that's a good pickup for them, I guess. Like you give up nothing.
I mean, I would like Joe Harris too. Those would be the two I would like to see LA go after potentially. Yeah. I don't know if Killian Hayes will get picked up.
I think a bad team will pick him up. I get like he's off of the worst team now. But I do think that there will be a team that's like,
maybe you guys.
Yeah, the point guard spot. I guess like maybe Brown plays that role now. But
down to 905. Like again, like I look at teams that are good at developing players. The Lakers are, but we don't want to use a roster spot. It's also how do you use him and then put him in. I don't think he can be in a two-way contract either because he's played too long.
Yeah.
So I don't like if we put him in the two-way and then we send him down to the D League, I'd be cool with Killian. But we can't be a team that does that. You guys could at least sign it to a normal deal, see what goes on, and then send him down to 905 and then develop him that way.
Yeah. I think there's going to be room on the NBA roster for him to just get some minutes. But like if you're a Washington or San Antonio has to be a bit more judicious with who they bring in because the main thing right now is Wemby. But if you're Washington, like why not? Or a team like that, like just give it a go and see what happens. But yeah, Toronto would be an interesting spot for him, I suppose.
Oh, and remember too, because this year is interesting. I should notice this because of the way the cap works. You're not allowed. Some teams are not allowed to sign buyout guys because of
Yeah.
their have a certain cap threshold. So Joe Harris cannot go to the Celtics, the Suns, or the Warriors.
Hmm.
Somehow the Lakers are not over the thresholds.
Good for them, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. So we can
Yeah,
just
like
kind of eat on the buyout market.
that new salary cap, the new restrictions, I do think kind of restricted things a little bit today as well,
Yeah.
with like certain teams not being able to like compile a bunch of salary and stuff like that. But I yeah, I'm surprised by a lot of teams today. I think another one that we could bring up in a loser category here would be the Oklahoma City Thunder. Because it
Yeah.
feels like they have a roster to do something special, and they had an opportunity, I think, to add some depth, and maybe they still do here in the next couple of minutes, but I would be surprised if they don't.
The no Daniel Gafford thing. Like I look at their centers, the other center they have is Oliver Starr. And all respect to Oliver Starr, I don't I watch a lot of basketball. I don't think I've seen a lot of Oliver Starr
Yeah,
pull out with stuff. And if Daniel Gafford was right there for that price, like you missed out on going to, even if go to Miami and talk to them about a Thomas Bryant, even like that's not
yeah,
gonna shatter the world, but just to find some other help at the post position because Chet going against you brought up JV, even I was like, that's even, tough. Like right now, who does OKC face if the playoffs started today? I guess they
Ooh,
play
good
one of the
question.
play-in teams right now, right?
Yeah, so it would be one of
Oh,
Kings, Mavericks, Lakers, or Jazz, or you
so
Warriors could be in there too, but
so potentially if we would almost assume the Lakers would win the 9 seed and probably have that 8 seed right now if things were going to go the way they were.
yeah.
Um, and I would still probably maybe pick OKC to win that, but good luck with AD.
Yeah. Then in the second round, you're getting one of the Clippers or the Suns.
Yeah,
So again,
that
not
helps.
teams that are deep with big men or anything like that. Like maybe this does only become a problem in the Western Conference final, but still, when you get to that point, you'd like to have something that can solve a problem because you're a series away from going to the championship. So
Like they need
it
to avoid Denver and Minnesota at all costs
yes, yeah, 100%.
because
Yeah, and like I said, I
those
think New
two
Orleans is a tricky matchup for them.
and New Orleans as well. Yeah, so just kind of going through here. Celtics, sure, with Jared Sullinger. I don't think he'll play Springer, not Sullinger, he's former Celtic. Cavs didn't do anything. Bucks. I,
I
I mean,
like
the I
I
do
like
like the
getting
Bat
Pat Bev.
Bev. Yeah,
Yeah, like
I
I
do like
think
that
that
one.
yeah, I think that one it works.
They'll probably go for one of these guys in the buyout market as well. Knicks, they won. Philly, I agree with you. I like that they stayed. I like that they stayed aggressive in this.
Mhm.
Indiana worked around the edges.
Yeah,
Fine.
they've made their big move already.
Miami is just they made their move, I guess. And they're just going
Yeah.
to kind of try to figure things out. Orlando didn't. I mean, Orlando has so many guards. I thought, yeah, maybe we'll trade like a Cole Anthony or a Fultz and just kind of shore up some of the guard stuff here. But they're so young, whatever. The
Yeah,
Bulls, man, just what? What are you doing?
don't don't get it. Don't get it at all. Them or
Don't get it.
Atlanta.
Yeah, and then the West. Okay, I mean Pistons, whatever. Wizards, whatever. Charlotte. I thought Charlotte had a good trade deadline. I
Yeah.
thought they did some good stuff. OKC,
Honestly,
like you said,
Pistons
go
getting
ahead.
Grimes, I think like
Yeah,
that it works for them.
yeah. OKC, like I said, I don't mind the Gordon one, but the big is what they really needed to do, and they didn't get that. T Wolves,
Yeah.
I thought maybe they go for Tyus Jones just because Conley and his health is up and down, but they could be a team that's also going to try to go for Lowry, maybe go for Dinwiddie as well. So,
Yep.
not the end of the world. Nuggets or the Nuggets, whatever. I mean, Strawworthy and I'm forgetting the other one, Braun. They seem to have filled into the Bruce Brown position
Yeah.
perfectly fine. So they're fine. Phoenix again worked around the hedges fine. Pell State still, like you said, just need to get a better Zion. Sacramento, I would have liked to maybe see something. Dallas, you've talked me into it. I like what Dallas did. I actually probably have Dallas as a second winner, to be honest. Um, Lakers couldn't make anything work. Jazz, sure.
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, they got a first round pick for Kelly
Yeah.
Olynyk.
Dubs, I'm a little bit surprised. Rockets, what were you gonna do? I
Rockets
mean, there
didn't
was
have
the
a move to
Jalen
make.
Green stuff. There's the Jalen Green stuff, but
That's more an off-season one anyway, I think.
yeah, Memphis, traded Robbie, but it's a lost season, so let's just keep on playing and make sure everyone gets out of the season healthy, and we'll see where this pick is and get Jaw back next year and just kind of go from there.
Yeah. Yeah. Portland, we haven't talked about them. I'm
Brogdon.
surprised. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm surprised Brogdon's still on this roster.
Yeah.
That I would have 100% taken the under on that one. That
Yeah.
surprises me actually a great deal when you look at the number of teams that he could fit on as well.
But the Chicago Bulls have not made a trade since August 2021.
Cool. Well, things have gone really great for them. It's been
Oh,
a,
they've
a
been
long run
awesome.
of success there.
Including just being assholes and booing a widow of
Ugh.
maybe the greatest GM in your history. Actually, the
Yeah.
greatest GM in your history. And I know the Jordan stuff is what it is, but that was just douchebaggery. Right now, the Bulls are the lead for my worst franchise in sports right now, which is very early right now, but the Bulls are the lead right now.
Yeah.
And Spurs, what were you gonna do?
Yeah.
Whatever.
It would have been nice if they could have gone out and got a point guard, but
Yeah.
I don't think any was available for a price that they'd be looking
They got a
to.
second pick for McDermott, who was going to leave. So whatever.
Right. Yeah. So they did fine, but they need to get that point guard thing figured out like this offseason.
Yeah. So, all right, everyone. Thank you to Peter. Peter, what can you get the trade and the other trade deadline coming up soon too?
Yes, yeah. I might be doing something on big radio for that. I'm not 100% certain just yet. Obviously like Super Bowl stuff, I got that big Super Bowl preview coming up to tomorrow. Fights in Football Friday. I love me some alliteration. So going to be giving my predictions for the entire WrestleMania card as well. I gave that a couple of months ago and some things have changed. So going to be updating
I want to talk
that.
off air about what you think the Cody Rock thing is. We'll talk about that off. Oh, and the Clippers just waived PJ Tucker.
Oh, devastating.
A mile away. Oh, they will not. The Clippers will not. Wow. Okay. They will not waive him. They will not waive him. A little bit surprised by that.
Yeah,
they don't play him. Just do it.
Buyout appears unlikely. Huh.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'll talk to you about the your Mania preview. We'll be doing a separate show tonight. Peter, you're welcome to join, but I'm sure you're busy as well. But we'll be talking about the fallout from the press conference and big business and who could be a big business for AEW. I have no idea.
Who could it possibly be?
Who could it be? But yeah, thanks, Peter, for joining us for this. And everyone go check out Peter for everything else in Couch Potato Diary. And when he does the NHL trade deadline. Until next time, everyone.